Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's blog post. Well, here we are, October, my favorite month of the year when it comes to coaching and training. It's the month where I spend the most time, out there up to my eyeballs in business planning and business development with existing clients, with clients that I haven't spoke to or I haven't ever met before who come into my life, who we get to spend some quality time together working on business plans for 2025, because they've come to realize what I've come to realize is, we're in the beginning of October and there's so much to do. And with only about 10 weeks left to get business into our pipelines, it's going to close in time to count for 2024, as well as fill our pipeline so that we can head with into 2025 with a robust pipeline. It takes some work and it takes some management. And, we can't just go through the month of October and, find ourselves in November, then December, and then we're in January and we didn't close out the fourth quarter all that well, and we don't have any plans for 2025 and things aren't organized. So I've always business planned in October. I believe it takes time to evaluate where your business is, where it's come from, how it's stacked up against prior years, where are things coming from, what's working, what's not, what's my schedule look like, what are the changes that I need to make in my business. All of these things come to mind. And so if we're going to build out that pipeline, if we're going to be prepared, if we're going to get the things done that we want to get done, again, and as well build momentum for 2025, we've got to have at least a minimal outline of things that we've got to seriously look at very quickly so that we can make those things happen. Because again, as I've said before, you've got about 10 weeks left before before we can't take in any business that's going to count for 2024. So let me start with a short list of things that we got to pay attention to, of as far as where we are now, and things that we should at least map out for ourselves over the next week. I mean, this is the last week to connect with your accountants, with those people that they have that are filling out and finishing up their tax filings for those people who took tax extensions. October is the deadline for those extensions to file, and we've had a long conversation about those, the strategy, circling around accountants for that. The second thing that needs to be on the list is making sure that we're collecting our year-to-date data. And it's really important to know where we stand right now, not only with what has closed, but where our pipeline stands of things that are going to close this year, pre-approvals that we're bringing forward. All those things become really important because the chances are that'll give you a really good idea what your run-out rate's going to be between now and the end of the year, plus what forecasting you can make as far as what you can anticipate coming in. And it's really important that what your projections were and where you actually stand. Next on the list is really to determine what's been working and what is not. We know that some things have exceeded expectations, some things have fallen far short of expectations, and we have to seriously look at those projections and those tasks and decide what needs to be improved or what needs to be removed, right? Those are things that we have to look at, and those things that we're keeping just the way they are, they're fine as they appear, then that's good. But it's important to know the things that we might need to ramp up on because it's working unexpectedly well or better than we projected. And then we have to look at things that we thought were going to work out better that haven't, and try to look at that and figure out what we have to do about that to improve it or to lose it. Next on the list is certainly being prepared all the way around for your business planning session so that you can build out a clear set of priorities and targets. Because if you can't have your your priorities and your targets for what you want to accomplish in 2025, you can't begin to schedule your business planning session and build a plan that you can then schedule and begin to implement right away to see what modifications need to be made before the end of the year so that you can start 2025 with a full pipeline and a full head of steam on systems that already work. And this is where a lot of people miss out. And pay attention, you could actually be implementing and working on and scheduling out and timing your business plan before others even think that business planning is something they even should consider. And that's a competitive edge to hit 2025 or any year for that matter, with your business plan complete, your business plan fully scheduled and implemented and running by the time you wake up on January the 2nd, with a full pipeline coming off a great fourth quarter. Nothing beats that in this industry, because nobody I've ever met in this industry had a great first quarter and had a terrible year. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about this. And well, why do I do that now? It's only October, blah blah blah. There's only a lot of things until it becomes something, and you can either be proactive or reactive. And let me tell you something, reactive in the mortgage business, just like in a lot of other places, isn't a great place to be. We alluded to it a little bit before. You got to map out your final 10 production weeks for those loans that are going to close in 2024, as well as the pipeline that you're going to build going into 2025. What are you going to get done between now and the middle of December? What's going to be in your process? What's going to close? What are those numbers going to look like? Are you going to be able to maintain your pre-approval queue? If not, improve it, and build that pipeline out again, so that we're not approaching the new year. Because I know everybody sits there and tells you, oh, well, we get to the first of the year and everybody starts at zero. Well, that's not true. You have an existing pipeline. The only time you're at zero is your first day in the business. That's when you're at zero. If you're in the business, then you've got an existing pipeline, you've got existing relationships, you've got things that you've already put in place. You got to know what they are. You got to be prepared for the results they're going to generate. And if they're not generating the results that you want, and there are many of you out there right now who are not generating the results that they want, you're going to have to do something to make some changes, because if you don't change what you're doing, you're not going to change what you're getting. The next thing we have to pay attention to, again, first week of October, especially if Halloween is your thing, then you got to go plan it, you got to go schedule it, and then you got to go do it. You got to do it now. So for those of you who have adopted Halloween as a holiday, you'd better have your plans in place. And if not, this weekend would be a great time to finalize those and get moving. Next on the list is, we're likely to continue to see a decline in interest rates, slow, steady. We've talked about that. You got to organize your database of people. You got to make sure that you're keeping the message personal. Too many people go out there and really shoot themselves in the foot and lose countless numbers of opportunities by email blasting, social media blasting, text blasting people. Let me tell you something. In this marketplace, there's so many different reasons for people to refinance. There's so many different details of why refinancing, what may not be obvious to some people. We all know the obvious part. If they've got a 7 or 8% rate, then a 5% rate's better. Yeah, I get that part. But there are a lot of people out there who don't see the significance. They don't understand either debt consolidation or the emotional tie to the fact that they can get out of where they are right now and into their forever home and make that move and take advantage. If rates continue to go lower, they can always refinance later. But the reality of it is that forever home is probably going to be more expensive next year than it is right now. And maybe, just maybe, now's the time to take advantage of where they sit financially and make that move. And besides, how much would it hurt to make sure that you're having that conversation to pick off one or two or more instead of refinances, purchase deals, and listing opportunities that you can refer your referral partners to? So that becomes really important. Next thing that I want to bring up in this, aside from that, is to make sure that you understand that the schedule in 2024 is not your friend. Worst case scenario that can happen in our industry is the fact that Christmas and New Year's both fall on a Wednesday. And we know the fact that there are going to be people when the holiday falls on a Wednesday, especially one with a significant eve attached to it. The eve is on a Tuesday, but you're going to have people wanting to leave the office, Friday the 20th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because Christmas is next week. And some of those people, and you know them, some of those people, whether they be in mortgage or real estate or other places, are going to leave December the 20th, and they're not going to show up until January the 6th. And that's just the fact of how things go. So if you're going to have business, if you're going to be available, understand that there are people out there who are going to leave and they're going to be gone and they're not going to work. And many of them shut down, Thanksgiving time. And those opportunities that become available to those people who are going to work hard through the finish line and beyond are significant. That's not saying that if you're going to take off, that you don't plan your time out so that you have coverage and be able to do all the things you want to do if you're going to take off. I don't, begrudge anybody for taking off during the holidays, for sure. And if you're going to, that's great. But if you're not going to be working, and take that vacation, then plan it out and go and enjoy yourself. But if you're going to be around, then make sure you take advantage of the fact that other people aren't going to be around. And as always, if you have questions or comments about any of the strategies about business planning, you're not sure how to do it, I'm here to help. It's just an email away. It's mike@imtcoaching.com. Talk to you again next week. And by the way, remember, unemployment numbers this morning, jobs report tomorrow may have impact on the markets. Again, trend is going to be your friend lower. It's just not going to be as fast as a lot of people would like it to go. But the reality of it is, here's where we are. There's a lot of things that impact the rate market. We're eventually going to get there, but planning it all out is something that we all need to do. So as always, reach out if you need help. And if not, we'll talk to you again real soon. Take care.